Students, there's a small topic left out of series and parallel connection. Okay, so we'll see the first disadvantage of series connection. Now for the disadvantage, the first disadvantage is the series circuit. Okay, the current is constant throughout the electric circuit. If you see in series, I is constant. Okay, now this is obviously impracticable to connect the electric bulb and electric heater in series, because here also you will have the same current for I and for electric heater, but they don't need the same value, right? Next is the series circuit. Okay, when one component fails then or broken, then none of the component will work. Okay, so in the series, if the first component, if there are 2-3 connected in series, if the first one stop, then the second and third one will also stop, because the current will not flow there. There's an example given in your textbook about fairy lights, okay, which you use for different occasions. Now if one of the series bulb gets dead, okay, so then it has to be tested and to find out where, and other it has to be replaced. So it's very difficult because the complete series will not be working because of one bulb. Okay, now that is the disadvantages of series, these two. Okay, now we have the advantages of parallel connection. Why you should go for parallel connection and not series connection? Now the parallel circuit, what happens, the currents get divided to the electrical gadgets. So here you have got I1, I2, I3 different. Okay, so the total resistance in the parallel circuit decreases. This gets helpful particularly when each gadget has got different resistance and it takes the different current, how much ever only it needs. Okay, suppose the bulb needs 1 ampere, it will only take 1 ampere. Suppose the electric heater will need 5 ampere, then it will take 5 ampere. So it will take the current as per as its need. Okay, so that is the advantage of parallel connection. And even if the one gadget does not work, the next gadget will work. It is not that one will stop so the other one also will stop. So this is the advantage of parallel connection. Now just turn the page. We'll see the next topic, that is heating effect of electric current. Okay, now whenever a battery or a cell is in a source of electric energy, okay, there's a chemical reaction taking place within that cell. Okay, now the potential difference between the two terminals of this cell, that makes the electron in motion. Okay, that is the flow of current through a resistor or a system of resistors. Okay, now whenever this happens, a part of source of energy goes in maintaining the current. Okay, that may be consumed by making that source of energy for some work. For example, if you are using it for an electric fan for rotating the blades of the fan, so some amount of current goes in making the gadget work. Okay, whatever work you want to do. Now the rest of the source of energy, okay, whatever is left out, may be expended in the heat to raise the temperature of the gadget. So if you have seen in our everyday life, if you keep on the gadget for long time, the gadget gets heated up. Okay, the appliance get heated up. Okay, so if you see an electric fan, you touch the fan, after some time it is warm. Same with the tube light or bulb. Okay, now this, if it is connected, this is its circuit, if it is connected to resistors or resistive, okay, then what happens, the source of energy gets dissipated entirely in the heat form. Okay, and this is known as the heating effect of electric current. Okay, so there are two effects of electric current. One is used for work done, other is used for heating effect. Now this heating effect should be actually used, and they are only used in some devices like electric heater or electric iron, where this heating effect is used actually. Okay, now based on that, there is a small derivation. Okay, now consider current I, resistance R, and potential difference V. Okay, now, and charge Q flowing through a circuit. Now the work done in moving the charge Q through the potential difference V is V multiplied by Q. Okay, now the work done. Now if you see, work done is equal to V into Q, and power is equal to W upon T. So W is equal to V into Q and power is equal to W upon T. So substituting the value of W here, we will get P is equal to VQ upon T. Okay. Now all of us know I is equal to current is equal to charge upon time, that is Q upon T. So if you substitute this value here, okay, V is equal to QT, so V multiplied by QT. So instead of this, if I substitute I, so I will get V into I, so P is equal to V into I. That's the first derivation we get. Okay, that is P is equal to V into I. That's what I have derived here, this derivation here, how it has come. Okay, now you go to the next derivation. Now next derivation, the energy supplied to the circuit by the source, the time T, okay, is P into T, then we get VIT. So here you have got this H, okay, is equal to P into T. Now in place of P we can put this P is equal to VI, so we get VIT. That is how we get H is equal to VIT. This is the amount of heat produced. H is the amount of heat produced with time T, which is equal to VIT. Okay. Now go to the next page. Now applying Ohm's law. Now Ohm's law is equal to R is equal to VI. So V is equal to IR. So in this H is equal to VIT. Okay. Here we have got H is equal to VIT. Okay. So in place of V we can put IR. So we'll get IR multiplied by IT. Okay. Here in place of V we put IR in place of this V. So IR multiplied by IT, which is equal to I square RT. So heating effect H is equal to I square RT. So we got three formulas. P is equal to VI, H is equal to VIT, and the next formula is H is equal to I square RT. Okay, so three formulas, formula number 1, formula 2 and formula 3. Okay, now this H is equal to I square RT is known as Joule's law of heating. Now this is depending on three factors. It is directly proportional to the square of current, that is I square, directly proportional to the resistance R, and directly proportional to the time taken, that is T. Okay, thank you.